Millions of people are exhausted. They read productivity blogs, try new morning routines, and force themselves to think positive thoughts. But despite running at maximum speed, they find themselves stuck in the exact same place. These surface-level techniques fail because they rely on the personality ethic, a focus on quick behavioral hacks rather than deep character growth. To see real results, we have to examine the lens through which we view the world. Stephen Covey defined this paradigm simply as the mental map we use to interpret reality. Take this street map of Chicago. If you need to navigate these specific city blocks to reach a destination, an accurate map is your most critical tool. But imagine if, due to a printing error, you were accidentally handed a map of Detroit. A positive attitude won't help you now. Doubling your speed will only get you to the wrong place faster. The problem has nothing to do with your effort. It's that you have the wrong map. Effectiveness requires correcting the map itself. Covey calls this the inside-out approach, built on 3 sequential habits known as the private victory. Habit 1 is be proactive. This is more than just taking initiative. It is taking responsibility for your choices. It's the realization that in the space between a stimulus and your response, you have the freedom to choose how you act. Reactive people allow external conditions, like the weather or a rude boss, to dictate their mood. Proactive people acknowledge those conditions, but subordinate their feelings to their core values. We visualize mental energy with 2 circles, an outer circle of concern for things we can't control, and an inner circle of influence for our choices. Focusing on concerns causes blaming attitudes, shrinking our influence. Focusing on choices creates positive energy, expanding our influence. Acknowledging that you only control your own response is the first step to gaining authority over your life. Once you take responsibility for your choices, you need to know where you are going. Habit 2 is based on the principle that all things are created twice, first as a mental blueprint and then as a physical reality. Imagine walking down the aisle of a dimly lit chapel to your own funeral. Your family and friends are there to honor you. Ask yourself, what exactly do you want them to say about the character you showed and the contributions you made? Without this vision, it's easy to get caught in an activity trap. You can work relentlessly to climb the ladder of success, only to realize too late that the ladder is leaning against the wrong wall. By establishing your destination first, you ensure that your daily actions contribute to your life by conscious design, rather than by default. Habit 3 is the second creation. This is where the mental blueprint is translated into daily discipline. Most of us struggle with the conflict between what is urgent, like ringing phones and sudden crises, and what is important, like health, building relationships, and long-term planning. If you fill your schedule with trivial tasks, the sand, first, there is no room left for your major priorities, the big rocks. But if you put the important things first, the urgent distractions will naturally fill the space around them. Real effectiveness requires the integrity to say no to the urgent, so you can consistently act on your highest priorities. These 3 habits form a cumulative architecture. Habit 1 says you are the creator. Habit 2 drafts the blueprint. Habits 3 builds the house. Integrating these habits results in the private victory, a shift from a state of dependence on external circumstances to a state of self-directed independence. This model illustrates how the habits of self-governance form the structural base for everything above them. Interpersonal success, or the public victory, is only possible once you have secured this character-based foundation of independence. Trying to fix external conditions is an exercise in frustration. Change only takes root when it begins from the inside out. We know the exhaustion of a failed interaction. But why do our attempts at collaboration so frequently devolve into bitter arguments or resentful compromises? Stephen Covey observed this friction rarely comes from a lack of communication techniques. It stems from the underlying lenses through which we view the world. The most pervasive of these is the scarcity mentality. From a young age, many of us are scripted to see life as a single, finite pie. If someone else gets a large slice, there is inevitably less left for you. This script treats human relationships as a zero-sum game. We assume another person's success is achieved at the direct expense of our own. Carrying that script into our daily lives leads to destructive dynamics. We default to an authoritarian win-lose approach to force our way. We yield to a weak lose-win appeasement to keep the peace. Or we settle for a compromise where both sides walk away feeling diminished. Treating deep-seated conflicts with surface-level communication tricks is like hacking at the leaves of a weed. Reaching true interdependence requires a complete inside-out change in how we relate to others. The abundance mentality provides the antidote to scarcity. It recognizes life as a cooperative arena with more than enough resources, opportunities, and success to spare for everyone. Think win-win is a balance of courage and consideration. Losing it collapses the dynamic. High courage with low consideration creates authoritarianism, while the reverse is appeasement. The highest expression is win-win or no deal. If there's no mutual benefit, respectfully walk away. Keeping no deal as a viable option is liberating. It removes the pressure to manipulate others or force a flawed compromise, ensuring that agreements only happen if they benefit everyone involved. Imagine an optometrist who listens to your symptoms for 5 seconds, then hands you his own glasses, insisting they will work for you because they worked for him. This is a clear case of medical malpractice. We commit this exact same malpractice in our daily conversations. We engage in autobiographical listening, filtering everything another person says through our own life experiences and prematurely diagnosing their problems. Because we listen with the intent to reply, we fall into 4 traps. We evaluate and judge, we probe with our own interrogations, we offer unsolicited advice, or interpret based on our past. Empathic listening offers the required alternative. Here, the sole intent is to deeply understand the other person's reality. You suspend your own autobiography until you can explain their viewpoint and feelings as well as they can. This process provides psychological air, which lowers emotional defenses and builds a foundation of trust. Deeply understanding the other person is a mandatory prerequisite for any genuine problem-solving. Combining a win-win motive with empathic listening creates synergy, where the whole is exponentially greater than its parts. While compromise waters down ideas, synergy values differences, using them to construct a completely new third alternative. Consider a couple arguing over their vacation. He wants to go to the woods and fish. She wants to use the time to visit her sick mother. Instead of fighting or splitting the trip in half, they pool their underlying desires. They find a synergistic solution, a beautiful fishing lodge located just a few miles from the mother's house. Interpersonal effectiveness is about pooling resources to transcend individual limits and invent a higher, mutually satisfying reality. Picture a man hacking at a tree. He's exhausted and making no progress, but insists he's far too busy sawing to sharpen his dull blade. We do this to ourselves constantly. We become so obsessed with producing immediate results that we neglect to maintain the machine required to produce them. Habit 7 is the daily private victory. It is a commitment to self-renewal across 4 dimensions: your physical, spiritual, mental, and social-emotional well-being. Practicing the first 6 habits demands immense emotional control and empathy. This daily maintenance provides the necessary energy to sustain them. Covey frames the 7 habits as an upward spiral. By continuously renewing yourself from the inside out, you perpetually expand your capacity to listen, collaborate, and achieve lasting effectiveness.